And hello and welcome, folks. Hopefully we're back up and running now. Welcome back to episode 6 of Seekers of Legend, Forging the New Gods. Hopefully the technical issues have dispensed with themselves now. And if not, well, I'm not sure what else I can do. So, thank you for the patience, folks. Sorry about that. So, as of just before the system went haywire, Emma had just done some craft checks for a clockwork trap and a clockwork detonator for the alchemical gel. They're one step away from being dynamite now. Oh dear.
We'll get there at some point.
Yeah, that's not making me worry any less. Remember, I'm the one who's got to deal with you lot when you get hold of high explosives. Well, higher explosives.
Just wait until I'm done, Chris. You're gonna hate it even more.
And Pint, thank you for the recommendation, but it's a follow, not a subscription at the moment. I am not quite a Twitch affiliate yet.
Yeah, so it's just following.
Although if you want to subscribe over at our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/BardicDM, that would be much appreciated. Which you can also, as I say, use to either catch up on anything you've missed from the series, or probably come Thursday, maybe Friday, if you want to watch the edited version of Dragon Quest XI, rather than the me scrambling around trying to learn how this particular brand of JRPG works. Right. So, any other plans that people have for what they'd like to do with the potential destruction or turning into a death trap of this village?
I've got one more thing.
Okay.
I'm gonna do the vegetable trap. I'm gonna do the plant that I ideally have. We're basically gonna be hanging things like cooking oil, things that make things very flammable up on the bridge. I also think I'm gonna add a little blasting gel around the structure at the bottom below it.
You might want to talk to Emma about that, because her other plan involved the bridge as well.
Yeah, no, I will. What are you thinking for the bridge, Emma?
Well, I was thinking, and Emma will show you the designs for the drills, for the drill trap. Having these at the posts set off by pins and more or less just collapse the bridge on top of them.
I need to dam the river first. Make sure it's fully effective. But like I say, if you can get that to work. If you get that to work, go ahead.
It'll take time, but I'm pretty sure I can get it to work. And the best part will be is they'll set it off, not us. So we can focus on other things.
Can you make it so it doesn't blow up by a fire?
It doesn't blow up. It makes a hole and destroys the posts.
No, I agree with that one, but what I'm saying is RS wanted to put blasting gel on it. I wouldn't do that.
Oh, what I'm saying is if we can go off after the fire, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, what I was just thinking is, we do the fire trap on it. We put some blasting gel around the struct, so basically eventually the fire will just spread to it on its own. Plus, admittedly, if we have control over it, it's maybe less likely for them to spot the trap. Instead of anything like a pressure plate or something like that.
Well, that could definitely work. So you're also looking to dam the mine at some point, which is going to be here. Not dam the mine, dam the river, rather.
Oh yeah. We're having is there any lumberjacks here? Because there's a lot of wood.
Hold on, someone got a video on in the background?
I heard
Sorry, I didn't think you're picking up my wife's thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could potentially work. There aren't any lumberjacks as such, but there are miners, and if you give them big enough axes, I'm fairly sure that will work.
Yep, and we could set up some of the engineers to oversee it.
And I'll tell them if a tree is falling down, don't run directly away from the tree. Run like to the side.
Also known as basic logic.
And probably while that's going on, I will test out to make sure they can hear the horn from the dam.
Okay, well you'll need to get people positioned and all that, but well, you haven't made the dam yet, but you'll need to get people positioned and see what you can do about that.
Yep, I'll get on that then.
Okay.
Okay, who's the craft traps?
Me, Erisk.
Think you can make some bear traps?
I think I should be able to. Where do you want them?
Past the bridge.
Fair enough. I'll put them past that brown building, just past the bridge.
Okay, so you're looking to have just past sort of here?
No. I mean, like after the bridge, like here.
That'd be. I'd have said that before. That was before the bridge, but
yeah, same.
Well, we're inside the village, so this would be before the bridge.
Yes.
Either way, guys, we're arguing semantics.
We're geeks.
All
What do
right.
you expect?
True. All right, I'll follow in with. Go ahead.
No, it's all right. So, what I was going to say was not anything relevant. So, just what were you looking to point out?
I'll go ahead and put them in front of the bridge.
Well, you'll need you'll need some blacksmithing in order to get the materials, but
Yeah, and natural 20 to actually craft them.
okay. It'll probably take, I'd say, with the amount of blacksmith you've got handy and the quality of materials and resources you've got, quality of materials and quality of tools, it'll probably take about a week to get a decent supply of them.
Alright, sounds good. And once all the crafting's done, I'm going to start focusing on training scouts.
Okay. I'm guessing you're going to be having Nix help you with that. Rose, if there's any other stuff you wanted to talk about?
Nothing I can think of other than helping to train scouts, as well as helping some people learn how to wield a bow and arrow, because it would be useful to have more people for ranged attacks, just in case.
Agreed. I'll actually encourage the bow learning over my melee fighting.
Okay. So if each of you could make either knowledge local or survival checks, or both if you've got them, and we'll see how much you can do for training for that.
Here's my local.
Okay.
And here's my survival. Oh my god.
Okay, if you do that progressively over the full course of the 6 weeks, you can probably get. I will say you can probably get about 20 trained up to a level that you're happy with.
Okay.
I will also say, because both of you are training them, you have a couple of different options for how you want their abilities to scope out as scouts. You can either have them effectively retrain their commoner level to either Ranger or Slayer.
I'd say we should have a mix of both. Does that sound good to you?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. 10 and 10.
Yeah.
And I'd say probably once the battle begins, probably put him up on that bridge, up on the ridge, past the road.
Or the watchtower itself, at least. Actually, no.
Yeah, maybe put like 2 or 3 rangers in the watchtower. Slayers in hiding somewhere, spread out.
Agreed.
And then place the rest of the rangers in other strategic long range positions.
Agreed. I probably have the command B once the goblins break past the pits, they start falling back and just make a fighting retreat from them.
Yeah.
Somebody chowing down by any chance?
Also, seeing Nyx and Aris going and training, Emma's gonna just kind of go around to see if any of the newly freed ex-slaves have any magical talent or knack or want to learn. Because
I will say that, thankfully, magical talent is only really required if you're looking for great sorcerers, but you can just catch people's interest when it comes to potential training, and yes, there is at least one. There's there's actually two. One an ex-engineer and one a fellow ex-miner. So the engineer who's got an interest in it is Galland.
okay,
A half-fling engineer. I don't know if you guys can see him alright or not.
Yep, I can see him.
yeah.
Okay. And the fellow miner who's got an interest in it is a dwarf lass by the name of Marana.
Okay.
There might be others who show up eventually, but these two are the first ones that approach you when you start offering the chance to learn magic.
Alright, Emma's gonna attempt to at least share a little bit of the knowledge that is now permanently ingrained in her brain.
Okay.
So, knowledge local and knowledge arcana?
It'd just be knowledge arcana in this case.
Okay. 21.
Yeah, you can definitely get those two trained up to a decent level, and you could probably get another 3 applicants in the time being that you can get up to a decent level. These
We
again,
all just
you were saying, Aris?
I was gonna say we all just start making them all focus on conjuration magic.
God. As I was going to say, you can, of those, you can have them either, their talents will skew either towards arcanists or traditional wizardry, depending on how you train them.
Emma will kind of allow the option to be open. She'll leave it up to the people being trained what they would prefer to be. She'll leave both open.
Right. It's more a question. The main reason I'm saying it's up to you is because the two require different types of training.
Yeah.
I would
She
say
might
that-
go straight arcanist just because that's all she knows right now. That's what she's most familiar with.
Okay, fair enough.
But she will explain that there are different kinds. There's sorcery, there's
I'm
wizardry.
just going to do a quick roll for a second.
Mm-hmm.
And all 5 do have enough of the spark of magical talent to take up arcanistry, because arcanists don't require the full-on bloodline, but they are supposedly requiring a small amount of innate talent. just because of the shtick they can pull off with the exploits.
Yay!
So yes, you can get all 5 and illuminate the dice like you.
And one thing she will definitely instill in her first trainees is the knowledge needs to be shared. If you find other people who want to learn, help them learn.
Should be interesting.
Yeah, she doesn't want them. She's like, knowledge is for everybody, and if people are able to do this and use it properly, help them.
What you are. So you've now got an 1/8 of the population being retrained up as actual combat classes. Oh, these goblins ain't gonna know what hit them.
That's the hope.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna look for some of the blacksmiths to help me out with something.
Okay, sorry. Oh, good to see you. And good to see you, Shane. Didn't realize you'd arrived yet.
Hey.
So,
He's a ninja.
So, Kragel, what are you thinking of building up?
Caltrops.
Ah,
So many caltrops.
I was gonna say, before you do that, you might want to talk to the goblins, the low goblins you captured last time, because last I checked, those were mainly for anti-cavalry, correct?
Well, no, it could for anti-cavalry, dogs, whatever. Basically, anything that comes charging you, it'll slow them down.
Ah, so it's the small ones, not the giant ones you're thinking of.
Oh yeah, I'm not using giant ones.
Yeah, I was going to say, because there is something equivalent to a giant caltrop that you just use as effectively a fencing off mechanic. I can't remember what they're called, but right, yeah. If you get a few of the blacksmiths together, you can just make me a craft blacksmithing check, because you'll have to make the molds first before you can start making the actual caltrops.
Let me see. Let me pull it up.
Well, I'm fairly sure they're made with molds anyway. I could be wrong.
And you can make them with molds, but the you still have to sharpen them and everything like that. You can also make them with just hammering. But
Yeah, I'm just thinking molds might be a quicker way to get large quantities of them. Well, whichever way you want to do it. If you want to just go with the hammering, then you can just make a general craft blacksmithing check anyway. And okay. How many are you looking to make?
a small mountain or hill.
Okay, so several hundred.
I paid the people are gonna have to clean that up.
That's the reason why it's not just me. I brought over some people.
Yeah, even with that, I'd still say it's probably going to take you a good 3 weeks to get the amount you're looking for.
And I'm trying to look for people that have stuff like me, to where they can do double the processing speed effectively.
Well, you find a couple of dwarves, but even then it's still going to take you a long time to get that many out, just because it's small and fiddly work.
Oh yeah, I understand. Like 90% of the time is probably just grinding these so they have a point.
Yeah, fair enough. So beyond that, do you want to spend any time training up a militia?
Yes. Well, they're not swinging their hammers to make cow traps. They're swinging their hammers.
All right,
To
no.
bash skulls.
I was thinking you were going to be going for a more traditional sort of spear wielding, but then again, I suppose hammer's what they know and all that.
Oh yeah, I figured it would take less time to trade them if they're wielding a weapon that they're used to.
This is true. Okay, so if you could make me a knowledge dungeoneering check. Or, I'm just trying to remember, I think I gave you... Did I give you perform oratory, or am I going mad as one of your benefits for being a... Chronicle? I'm just going to double check your character sheet, 'cause I can't remember if I gave you, Yeah, well, 21's enough, yeah, you can probably, because it's training up what you've already got, you've something that's fairly familiar, you can probably train up a good 30, fighters.
Yeah, no, you didn't get me to perform.
Just thinking perform oratory will be another one that will be quite useful in future.
You said knowledge dungeoneering?
Yeah. Well, I thought that was what you just rolled, or is that the blacksmithing check? Yeah. Right, I misinterpreted, so with that being the dungeoneering, so we'll take it down to 20 rather than 30. I'd misread the blooming things. Sorry folks, for all those listening out in the internet land. Apparently this week's gotten to me more than I thought.
You teach none of the phalanx and just have them practicing kicks the entire time.
He's not a monk. Oh dear God, if you had a monk.
You probably think you can join this campaign as a monk?
I'm just imagining, being able to turn, being able to go, alright, we're not going to focus on making anything, we're just going to turn all 200 of you into level 1 monks. It'd be a terrifying sight.
No, I think what would be scary would be a bunch of level 1 alchemists.
Yeah, that would be worse.
Or barbarians.
Damage.
Oh,
It's like, what's going on? Why did that city explode? We had 400 level 1 alchemists.
200 level 1 alchemists, all throwing their bombs. Yeah, no. Oh, that would be broken. And when it comes to melee, down your mutations. Try and deal with that.
Our banner's just a symbol of a high goblin just being washed away by the explosion.
I was thinking it'd just be I was thinking it might just be a hazard symbol. Just biohazard.
Okay.
Right. So that potential DM nightmare out of the way.
For now.
Yes, I was going to say, I have to start worrying about it if Emma actually gets the Artifice domain.
I think all the players pretty much at least non-verbally agreed she's probably going to be the one to get it anyway.
Yeah, this is
Seeing
true.
how much she wants it.
Yeah. Because that will then give you the actual domains you need to be able to train alchemists.
Yep.
Oh dear.
Clockwork machinery and alchemists. It'll be so much fun.
What about clockwork alchemists?
I think she's more thinking bomb spewing clockwork artillery.
They have the.
He says there can't be both.
They have flask launchers but instead of arms.
God. For those of you who are wondering how this campaign is going to go, you've just got a flash forward. You've just got a flash forward of potential events.
Now, see, I'm just waiting for Emma to just make a homunculi arm.
Well, it's either that or she's going to end up going going the full metal alchemist route and making a whole army of humanoid homunculi.
Now that's something you gotta volunteer for.
I want to be Greed.
You don't say. Who wouldn't want to be Greed? Nigh on invulnerability. Right, back on topic. Okay, so Aaron, did you have any training you wanted to do or any plans you had for potential?
I probably would get with anyone who's looking to be adept at like healing and do bandages and like kind of more of the clerical aspect of things.
Okay. Well, you won't be able to, unfortunately, create new clerics, but you can get them trained. But you can get anyone who trains you. You can get them proficient to treat the heal skill as a class skill.
Sweet.
So if you just make a heal check.
Copy that.
Good God.
No, dude.
That's like all of them.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Anyone
you've got,
who
I
hasn't been
don't
trained
think
yet.
we're gonna have to worry about anyone dying.
Somehow
yeah,
we end
you've
up
got a
more
good.
healers
Yeah,
than
you
fighters.
basically you've got most of the population. Basically, you've got most of the 200 trained up as medics.
Hey, everyone should have this skill, alright? Like, this is one of those things where, like, yeah, I get it. You probably don't need to in a battle, but everybody's getting a bandage. Like, everyone.
Oh, if anyone wants to, they can also work on anyone with craft alchemy or again with heal. If you want, you can start trying to put together medical supply boxes during this time. Sort of first aid kits and all that, or healers kits.
I'll help with that then.
I mean, I got both, but my heal's the best.
I was going to say, says the individual with the healing domain.
Come on. Got that one natural 20, now it's all going to shit.
At least he was on one of the important roles.
True.
Okay, yeah, between the two of you, you've got enough. Over the 6 weeks, you've definitely got enough time to produce enough healers kits to give most of the people you'd be assigning, probably enough to give about 70 medics a heal kit.
Sounds good to me.
So you've got 70 on-call potential battlefield medics. This is going to be one scary-ass group of ex-civilians.
We kind of needed it in this world.
This is true. Oh, I dread the day when you lot can start actually elevating clerics and oracles.
All the oracles are just dual cursed healing life oracles.
I mean, to be honest, a lot of these guys went fighting with us not too long ago, watched me summon a bunch of ghosts,
Yes,
and then let them pass over into the afterlife.
Yes, we'll be dealing with the outcome of that. I just wanted to get sort of the general planning out of the way. I just wanted to get sort of the actual plans out of the way before we got into the heavy RP, and I figure if we can actually have plans for what you guys are planning to do, and then we can get into the more actual role-playing bits of the session.
I agree. You're fine.
Oh, this is gonna be fun.
Yeah, I was going to say,
yeah.
because it wasn't just the it wasn't just your allies who saw that, it was the 10 low goblins as well.
Oh yeah, and by the way, I plan on making sure all of them are synchronized. So if anybody comes inside of that blacksmith area, every single hammer will be synchronized.
I suppose that's one way of partnering up the training, both types of training.
Oh yeah, plus it's teaching them, how to be in sync.
Yes.
I just had a scary thought. Well, let's put impactful on the forge. Start mass producing weapons that are count as two size categories or larger, despite being medium.
Well, no, impact only counts as one size category larger.
Yes.
Still bad enough.
I was gonna say it will still have the warhammers doing 2d6. Unfortunately for me, you do not actually have the resources to do that at the moment.
For now. We just swap it out occasionally with gravity bell.
I was thinking you'd be swapping it out with whatever you'd need to do to get it to enchant holy. I mean, impact weapons are one of my favourites, I will admit.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so is anyone else getting... what's Verbatim doing?
What do we have so far? We've got Emma doing Arcanists, Nashi doing Smiths. What's Rose and Urusk doing?
We're training a combination of Rangers and Slayers.
All archers.
Well, all the Rangers are archers, yes.
I probably will be encouraging my guys to be archers as well.
All right. Verbatim's going to start doing a select few to start training them in saboteur and spy networks.
Yeah, beat me to it. I was waiting until they had more people, at least had more ability to use spies.
I was expecting you to be training up bards, but all right then. In which case it'd be a stealth and a bluff check, please.
Somehow feels like I should have ended up with a bard, and Verbatim should have ended up with a rogue class at this point.
I'm going to use my Perform Sting for the bluff, or Perform... What is it? The...
Perform more auditory?
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got saboteurs, and you've got a decent number of spies. Probably getting a little bit of probably getting at least a few of the ones who are training under Arusk to be slayers coming in and taking a few lessons, along with another 30 on top of that. So you've probably got about 40 of them.
Stole my idea.
I'm also going to start working on converting the low goblins to our side.
Well, we'll get to that in just a second, because
Another quick thing that I just thought of that Nyx would probably be doing is taking a few people out to basically, hunt for meat and...
Well, I assume that would be what you were doing. I assume that would be part of the training for the Rangers.
I would include that as part of the training as well, but we would definitely need food because those reserves that are already in the hold aren't going to last long.
Yeah, fair point. And you'll be okay, so if you can make me another survival check then.
See how well this one goes. Oh my god, that's much better.
Yep. Okay, yeah, you're able to get quite a few of the people who aren't necessarily interested in other aspects. Yeah, the thought of more food is very intriguing to them.
Yeah. If anything, anyone who doesn't want to train in any of the other stuff, I can at least show them how to hunt and find herbs, or not just herbs, but plants that we can eat.
Okay, with that, even if they aren't necessarily have a class, they've now got proficiency with one type of bow, either longbow or longbow, shortbow, or crossbow, depending on what you decide to go with, and they'll also have survival as a class skill.
Okay, I'll let them choose which bow they each want to use.
Right.
And so, I mean, a mix of crossbows, short bows, and long bows.
Yeah, for the most part, it tends to be, unless they're coming from sort of the mining groups, if it's like the cooks, or if it's the cooks, then it tends to be they go for the crossbows. It tends to be the miners who are going for long or short bows. Because the cooks don't really have the upper body strength to be pulling back on a draw weight.
Right.
Well, you do, but you're the exception.
Yeah.
Sort of. Yes, they're used to hauling around big chunks of rock, so yes, their drawstring isn't too bad. For the guys who the heaviest thing they carried was a cooking pot, it's sort of a wee bit of a challenge.
Just wait until I can find some orkhorn bows.
You're gonna have to more make those than you are find them.
In time.
You'll need to find some bowyers first.
We'll be seeing the gladiator soon enough, hopefully.
Yes, the Ludus. Oh, that's not good. They're not going to know what's hit them. Saying that as if any of the goblins are going to know what's hit them at this point.
I have a question that, so like, the meat that the goblins, that while we were all still slaves, where did the meat come from other than possibly them eating us? Like, I'm assuming, did they at least go out and hunt?
The scouts would occasionally hunt, yes, but there were also general supplies of like salted pork and fish, which you did take from the camp.
Okay.
Oh, thank God, that's one green.
Yeah, no, okay, that is one thing I was going to say, that'll be something you can actually talk to the low goblins about, and if you actually know anything about that.
Because I don't know if they, like, maybe actually had some like, cows or something anywhere.
No, it was mainly, as I say, it was mainly either supply drops from one of the military bases with, barrels of salted or pickled meat, and or hunting.
Okay.
Because, to be blunt, when you're trying to keep things cost efficient, actually having animals is less efficient cost-wise than going out and hunting when you're surrounded by forest.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
If no other reason.
If we're talking about efficiency, bugs are a lot easier to maintain.
Yes, but you have to eat a lot of them, and you have to dedicate space to them.
Okay, Bear Grylls.
And I would say, to be fair, if you suggested eating insects in a fantasy setting, they would probably expect you meant that the ones that are as big as a cow.
Every day we're just hauling ant pigs into the camp.
Oh.
Or just giant ants or giant spiders. Oh, one last thing before we get onto the actual role-playing moments. I have finished out level 4. So I'm just going to bring you guys over to it, so you can get a quick look.
Ooh, pretty.
And what does this contain?
Chiefly, forge rooms.
Yeah. Okay.
If you see somewhere with a red spot on it, then that is a room with a forge.
Okay.
And the bit past here is, and the bit I'm just clicking on there, and for some reason that's not on the map layer for some reason. This bit here is whilst it is sealed off, is effectively the entrance to what was the mining tunnels.
So effectively, if people go up there, they're gonna see me running around yelling at people because they're out of sync.
So this bit, I'm guessing, is still probably sealed off because that goes off into the underground passages of the mountain.
Probably for now, at least.
Yeah.
Sort of, we have enough to deal with, we are not dealing with whatever is under these mountains.
Surprise, drown invasion.
Nah, if that was going to happen, it'd have already happened.
Yeah, I don't think we would have escaped drows.
Let's be fair. If the Drow were going to invade, they'd have taken it over the abandoned dwarven city in the several thousand years it's been abandoned.
Yeah.
True.
Because let's be fair, free dwarven citadel, no having to fight for it. As you lot have proven, anybody's going to snap that up when they can. So yes, you have a large number of forge rooms available.
Oh god, it's gonna be the invasion of the flail snails.
No, I would not do that because, dear God, giving you giant shells that reflect magic is not a good idea. I'm just imagining war wagons covered in flail snail shells with archers popping out of the top.
And then we just that's all the shields we give all of our soldiers.
And then there would be a breeding ground for them, and we'd be known for our escargot.
I would not be opposed to that. I'm not going to be the one taking care of it.
For reference, if anyone is actually ever... For reference, if you are a DM, be very careful with flail snails. People who get... If you have players that have any sense, they are going to make use of the shells, and it is going to make all of your spellcasters you have made hate your character, your NPC spellcasters absolutely gimped. Because percentile chance to deflect the spell right back at them.
Now, see, I'd be excited and very sad if we ran into some... I can't pronounce the word, so I'm just going to say underground dwarves.
Ah, Duergar.
No, the Srifrabren.
Oh, Surf Neblin, and that's underground gnomes, not dwarves.
Oh, there's a gnomes? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They are gnomes.
Yes, deep gnomes.
They aren't that bad.
They are pretty cool.
This is true, particularly if you read the R.A. Salvatore's Drit story, where there was one who had...
Oh, yeah. I remember him.
Belwar.
They
Yeah.
some butt.
If you were
Okay.
if you were to screw everyone over, just a mountain of rust monsters.
That's what we'll start breeding then. So we'll start training them to be attack dogs.
That would be a terrifying...
Alright, so shall we see if we're able to convince the goblins to join us?
I'll join verbatim in this, but I'm letting him take the lead.
Okay, so are you talking to them first? Or, so I'm guessing you're not taking them back and talking to them directly after they've seen the light show of spirits.
Yeah.
No.
After that, and we'll hang them over the pit of lava.
Well, that would require getting them back to the city. So.
I kid.
All right. Well, I'll take us back to the general camp map for now, and then. Whilst we're deciding that. So you've got a group of... Have I actually got a token for those things or not?
What was that?
I'm just checking whether I've actually got a token for the low goblins. I have, just not the updated token. So Yes, I'll just show you guys what the general look of the low goblins is. Because it is not the standard Pathfinder goblin, because no. I am not a fan of Paizo's goblins.
What?
Well, the pyromaniacs?
I don't they seem a bit too silly in some ways. For anyone who's familiar with the manga, I'm more in line with liking the goblins from Goblin Slayer. I like them to be a threat.
Chris is obsessed with them. He's obsessed with Goblin Slayer.
Not obsessed, just it's one of the few really good mangas I've found in the last few years.
Fair point.
Actually, if you want a good manga that's a lot of fun, it's Cooking Monsters, which is basically about a bunch of people who live in a Pathfinder-like world eating the monsters they kill and how they cook them.
Yeah, I've read that.
Really good.
Also, I've read Dungeon Rice, I think it's called. Or Rice of the Dungeon. Well, Dungeon no Meshi, but yeah. So yeah, this is how the this is how the low goblins look.
They look like mutated monkeys.
They are mutated monkeys.
Well, as soon as after we convince Mom, we just start handing them vests and fezzes.
Mm-hmm.
So you're turning them into a boo from Aladdin.
Maybe.
Alright, so... And we'll just kind of look at the more better people who are better at talking and go, well, we just... Shall we?
How long has it been since we captured them?
If you're taking them back up to, say, the valley rather than into the city, then it'd probably be an hour, maybe 2.
Alright, so we put them in a room, we lock them up, post a guard, and we'll let them sit there for 2 days.
Okay, so you are actually taking them into the city and putting them somewhere you can lock them up. Fair enough.
Yep.
And I'm guessing it's still on the... Okay, so that's going to... Okay, so we're going to leave that for a moment because we've now got 2 different issues to deal with in regard to the citizens. One, the ones who have seen Aaron's trick with the spirits of the dead. And the ones who are... And also because they've just seen you bring a bunch of goblins in, and the people aren't exactly happy about that. We'll deal with the ones who were on the raid first. So, a few of them do come up to Aaron and it's sort of... Well... it's led by one of the volunteers who came along, Hendrik. I'll just show you his face. He was one of the miners. He's a human. Sort of late middle age and quite stocky. Well, at least by the standards of what you got to eat anyway.
Okay.
So he's the one who's sort of at the head of the group. I mean, they're all sort of lingering about, but he's the one who comes forward. And you, Aaron was one of the smiths, correct?
Yes, I was a smith, yeah.
Just double checking, Sorry, reading...
No, you're good.
Trying to get everything straight. So, Flash, your name's Aaron, right?
Yes, and you may be?
Hendrik, I'm one of the miners. I was just... Well, we saw what was going on and the weird the strange lights you were dealing with when you were off in the garden near the river. And, well, we want to know, what's that? I mean, we've seen some odd things going about, but that was the strangest one I've ever seen.
Well, that is my personal divine right that I created. It is how I see to those who have fallen already and bring them peace for the afterlife.
Wait, so you said it's a divine right that you created, but we thought, wait, does that mean you're following Rakash or something? I mean, it doesn't seem like it, but...
No, I don't follow anybody. Just my own will.
And you said you could deal with the spirits of those who have passed.
That is what you saw, wasn't it not?
Oh, yeah, but I mean, the only people who've heard of that are well, clerics or. And here I would like to point out, so I can remind you all, you have not actually told anyone what you found at this point.
I don't plan on.
But no one who can do that, and he's just going to sort of wander off, looking really slightly confused.
It's alright, lad. You'll understand one day.
Cue the rumours of what potentially, and cue the rumours of cue the rumours of divinity going around the camp. Next issue that comes up is, well, it actually starts with Vondel coming up, and Head Smith.
Mhm.
He's not coming up to any. He's coming to a group sort of thing after. Now, it'll probably be sort of either the morning after the raid or at some point during that, the day after the raid. When you're all sort of in a similar place, probably at a meal. So he's going to come forward. I'm sorry to bother you all, but there's been some disquieting rumours heading about.
Such as?
Well, rumours from some of the people in the squad that you took some of the goblins alive.
Oh, that's not rumor, that's true.
Why would you do that? Why would you take any of those? Why would you take any of those slain scum alive?
I've used for them.
Look, I was barely above ourselves.
You say that as if they aren't from the same bloody cruel stuff that the other high goblins are.
Oh, they are.
Right, why would you give them any mercy? You know the goblins won't have any for us.
Oh, so we're supposed to act like goblins now?
If we show them mercy, they'll gut us.
You're right. They will. We're testing these goblins. If they can be brought to the fold, they will be. If not, we're killing them like the rest.
But not after we gain useful information that we can. Any useful information that we can get out of them.
Okay, if one of you three would like to make a diplomacy check, the other two can assist, and it's up to you three who want to. Actually, no, you roll the main diplomacy check. If Nix and Aros want to aid, then that's fine.
Yeah, I'll aid.
So 2 aids. So I will add 4 to this roll. I will roll that. And that's with the +4 already included.
Okay. Yes, you're able. Right. You know that the general population seems to be settling down and rolling Gibson on. Right. You've guided us well so far. Sorry, just it's hard to deal with the idea that being in proximity to bastards again. But I found, and then he'll just walk off and head off to the forge to get back to working on stuff.
Right, waves. Have a good day.
We're not the masters we once had. We want to hear problems like this.
Well, thanks for hearing out. Thanks for talking it out with me. Feels good to be able to actually have someone explain what's going on.
We'll be happy to do so in the future.
We did find alcohol, right?
Yeah, you found some. Yeah, you found a few different batches. Chiefly a very dark and somewhat bitter beer, and there is a diluted version that we're giving out occasionally as a reward for the low goblins.
Yep, and sometime during this week I'm actually going to take Carrick and John Still.
Okay.
Okay, can I have some of the distilled, the watered down stuff?
That's up to the rest of the party, but you should have a few barrels of both types.
It's fine with me.
I know she's.
Okay, I'll take one of the barrels up, and like one of the days in which we're all making caltrops, I'm gonna just have a break. We're gonna drink from the barrel.
Is any sort of ceremony with that, or?
Oh, it's like you did a good job. Yeah, we're having a drink.
Oh, and sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to hear from Jazzy that his internet's been apparently the internet in the Midwest is going a bit screwy for him. Hopefully, if you can hear this, great. If not, well, wish you for when you're listening on YouTube. So, right. Any other?
I will give a toast though.
Of course.
Toast is basically we can deal fire on the outside, put some fire belly, then we'll drink.
Right, yeah. Right. So over the next few weeks, you're able to start the training. I'd also need So Aris wanted to show Carrick the distillery, correct?
Plus, I remember we also found that plate and some other like that's for brewery as well.
Yeah. So for the plate, you could get Emma to make a linguistic check to try and translate it.
Or is it not something I can just see and read?
Yeah, but we need someone else, maybe other people to be able to read it.
Yeah, I was going to say, you completely understand Dwarven, but you have to translate it for Carrick, so you have to translate it to Goblin. Because at the moment, that's the language he speaks. So it just depends on how long it would take to do it, sort of thing.
Alright, let's see how this works. I'm going to hang some linguistics as well, because I haven't yet on YouTube, so let's see how it goes. Not bad.
Yeah, you're able to get it done quite quickly. It's not particularly long, so you're able to get it translated out. The only thing we'd need is, obviously, if you're looking to craft looking to have him build back up, it'll be a knowledge engineering check from, say, Arusk, and then I'll give it +4 for having Carrick help you out on it.
Alright, we'll do. 28.
Yeah, that'll... In between your other stuff, I'm guessing this is going to be the lowest priority of the things you could be doing.
Yeah, probably, but he'll still want to handle me when he has some downtime.
Yeah, so with Carrick probably calling on a couple of others when he's got... Probably being in downtime, it'll probably take about a month to get it up and running.
True, but it's going to be worth it for years to come, hopefully.
Yeah, so maybe once you get alchemists and all that and start making magical brews and...
Yeah, I'm not going to show them the potion, the magical booze we found earlier. I mean, right now, but I'll save it for when. Save it for what's after the alcohol's comes up to snuff.
Right. Which will take a while because you still need to, well, get the grain growing and all that.
Oh, true. We do have some. We do have a grove. We can't probably start from anything at the very least.
You could probably have. Yeah, you could probably once it's up and running, if you've got with the stuff you took, you could probably start trying. You could probably try and make a first batch. Yeah.
I'll do that. I'll find out that and have some people do that at the very least.
Well, it'd be in about a month, obviously.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Right, this is all long-term stuff.
So, any other plans that you have for the 6 weeks, apart from the buildings and laying out traps and all that?
Verboten on the second day starts working on the goblins.
Okay. Right, so are you going in on your own? Take anyone with you?
Actually, there's going to be 3 guards that he's hand-selected. One is going to be going in and securing the goblins to the wall, and the other 2 are going to be covering that guy with crossbow to keep him safe.
Okay.
While they're doing that, then all the goblins will be put into the medicals, and then they'll come out.
Right, okay.
At which point, he'll be going in by himself. Unless one of the others wants to accompany him, otherwise he has no issues going in by himself.
I'll go with you.
So he's going to stop by the cooks and get a leg of lamb, some soup, some beer, and then he's going to put it all on a tray.
Roasted salt pork at this point.
That's fine. Whatever we have available.
So
He's going to put it on a cart, and then he's going to head into the room with the goblins.
after only a couple of days, the training will still be in process before you've got any hunters. It'll probably be at least a couple of weeks before you've got any fresh supplies going in.
That's fine. They've been without food and water for 2 days, so they're going to pretty much want whatever they can get a hold of.
Yes. Which is rather difficult when the hands are manacled to the wall.
Exactly. So, and who's going in with them?
I will go just because more she's curious than anything else.
I'll go too.
Croggle. So he goes in, and he basically slices off a piece of ham, hands it to Croggle, cuts a piece for himself, and offers Emma a piece if she wants one. And basically just starts a whatever conversation with those 2, and drinking some of the beer, and basically letting the goblins watch.
I was going to say, after the first couple of minutes, most of them are sure, but eventually one of them will just sort of pull himself up a bit and go, "If you're going to kill us, get it over with already."
Oh, I would want to kill you.
Slave revolt. Everyone knows that when the slave revolt happens, every single goblin gets their throat cut.
The revolt happened 2 days ago, it's over and done with.
Yeah, and that just which probably means you're going to do something worse than kill us.
No, not at all. I'm hoping I can feed you, and maybe have a decent conversation without their daggers and crossbows and everything else going on.
Hearing him talk sometimes is worse than death.
He just grins.
Right. Oh, great. At which point he goes, "Oh, great, I've got tastes like something high nobles."
High nobles? What?
I don't know how you learned about the high noble traditions, but that's obviously what you're looking to do.
Verboten raises an eyebrow. Please, explain.
Fine, you can make me explain it to those of my comrades who don't know what it is. High nobles have considered eating the lower sentience to be a delicacy. So
Really?
Emma visibly kind of gags a little, like, oh.
I'll look over at Emma and be like, "Hey, you tried it before?"
Emma just looks and goes, "The idea is disgusting."
It was to which he goes, "It was a tradition started by His Divine Majesty Rakash."
Well, definitely not what would be anywhere near considered noble. Kind of grew up in a slave pen, but I guess I can see why you might think that. But no, sure, we have no intention of eating you or any parts of you.
I'll just put my head back and start looking up at the sky, thinking.
Head to your chin, looking up to the sky.
Hand to chin.
Ah, okay, gotcha.
Let's say a stroking beard sort of moment.
Yeah, gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
So, is
make me a quick diplomacy check for this bit, just to thank him for that bit.
Emma will try and assist, although it's apparently not needed. Yeah.
Well, it's not imposing any benefit, but they even the rest of the goblins visibly relax, and the one who's been speaking seems to be slightly less on edge.
Fair enough.
If you're not going to eat us, that probably means you're looking for information.
Ah, he does clue in. So, now that we've established that, would you guys like to eat?
Not each other, mind you.
And he points to the plate he has on the cart.
The rest of the goblins are all clearly. The rest of the goblins are all nodding fervently.
Except for the one that's speaking.
Yeah, he sort of seems more hesitant towards it.
Right.
And he does actually start, and I'm just going to have to do a quick roll for him as he says it. I'll have him say first. Bloody fools! Hey, I'm not collaborating with Laura. This is considered heresy against high law, against the divine majesty of Akash. Do you want to end upon the fires?
You're assuming, of course, that your brethren are going to come in and wipe us out.
Of course, they have the might of a god behind them, and the others look somewhat chastised, but not enough to actually stop nodding.
Everybody comes to the part about that they have a god on their side. That's interesting. We've got, what, 6?
To which he goes, okay, I'm going to have to make another roll for him. Just a second. You don't appear to be lying, then you must be mad. There are only 5 gods in the world.
The Yuji Mad just grins and starts slicing off. Man.
Yeah, the goblin is looking. Yeah, the talking goblin is looking worried at this point.
Do our powers come off as divine when we use them?
Well, technically, they would register a different effect, but the fact that you got any level of power at all as slaves would be kind of suggesting that something is up. But your unique abilities, so would probably come closer to divine effects. So like Emma's missile or magic missile or Kragel's aura effect.
I put protection on all of them.
Was that verbatim or was that?
I'm sorry?
So I was just checking, was that verbatim or Kragel saying they're putting protection?
Kragel.
Okay, so you're using your ability. So are you counting the goblins as allies or just having effect you verbatim and Emma?
Oh no, I want them to feel the effects, so they're allies right now.
Okay, yeah, there's
Also, while he's doing that, GM, can Emma make a history roll to see if if there is any other way the name besides the who they were as mortals or who they were before they got the shards of divinity?
In the case, you can make a knowledge history check, but there's a good possibility they might actually be using their original names.
Yeah.
They sort of scrubbed history clean.
Alright, that's 17.
Okay, from what you can divine from the knowledge shard, some of the deities are using different names, but Rakash is using his original name partially because before when he came to power, he was previously an outcast amongst hobgoblins. So he liked the fact that the people who had thrown him out were now being made to serve him. However, the deities in general haven't done a general best over the last few millennia to wipe any history apart from their version. As far as anyone else is concerned, there was no history before the 5 gods. Yes, they're all falling to their knees and looking absolutely terrified.
At which point, Verboten spins to the one that was talking and offers him a hand. Oh, right, you're tied up. Here, let me take care of that.
So are you actually letting him loose from manacles?
Yep.
Just the head one or all of them?
Just the head one right now.
Yeah, he falls into a cow, head to the floor, head and palms to the floor. Please have mercy and please forgive me, I didn't know in what power's presence I existed.
Yeah, about that. So, we kind of want some information.
as he's doing that, I'm just gonna go over to one of the other goblins, start stroking its head, feeding it.
Voracious host to creepy kidnapper in all of 2 words.
Right.
Oh my god. So I guess the goblins are gonna be our pets.
Harris comes up, hangs a sign on the door, labeling it Gimp Closet.
They said get a room. We agreed.
Oh god. Okay, so I'm putting the mature filter on for next session. In case. Everyone who's watching for their kids.
Sorry, but I'm sorry.
Oh. Well, that took a turn.
Yeah, I was doing adult jokes.
Yeah, I'm fine with it, just sort of cut.
Yeah, just wait until the divine harems are put in place.
We have just gone from Pathfinder to
Yeah.
JRPG.
Good night, everybody.
I should not have mentioned manga earlier. I think
Only
we just
meaning
killed
for
Nick.
iteration.
We'll open the recruiting after the session.
Oh my god.
You're going to continue, Nix, or should we wait?
I'm good. I just kind of broke me there for a second.
Sorry, but not sorry.
Okay.
Refuse to say that, but same.
Right, so the goblin that Kragel is dwarf handling.
Caressing.
Well, I was tempted to say molesting, but I'm not sure if it applies. Does take it, but is looking distinctly worried and confused.
Everybody leans over and whispers, "He's not with me."
Hey, I'll show you my plan.
That's what he calls it.
Oh dear.
And Emma just kind of and Emma just smiles and goes, history is on. The history you know is also a lie. Rakash was once a hobgoblin outcast and only kept his name because he went and lord over all the other hobgoblins.
He looks distinctly confused at the use of the term hobgoblin.
Yeah. Or what? I mean, a high goblin. Sorry, she'll say high goblin.
I just wanted to check whether
She likes the word. She likes using hobgoblin instead because they're not high.
No. Well. So. Well. Very well. You clear. Since you already outnumbered. Since what you have said is most likely true, I will tell you what I can of what you are looking for, of what you wish to know. Though I will say I may not be as useful as as the high goblins would have been in regards to this.
Oh, it's fine. Just the fact that you're willing to talk is a win in my book.
To be fair, he's in the presence of a literal ascendant god. That's bound to make any mortal a bit twitchy.
So Verboten kind of sits back for a second and he looks at the other two. So, exactly, what is it we want to know?
Give me the key.
The key? Oh, for the... sure. Flips into key.
Please keep it vaguely PG-13, Kragel.
I'm not even doing anything with that. Like I said, my plans are to make a butler.
So that's what the image was about. I was wondering.
Mm.
It's not going to beat Emma's old buddy who had the owlbear butler.
Just wait until next. Start getting more followers.
Oh dear.
We're just gonna be by the time she levels up, we're just gonna be followed by an entire zoo.
I'll point to the four still shackled up, and I'll be like, "Which one of you likes fire?"
They all look terrified at that question.
They're goblins. I thought they all liked fire.
Yes, but they're being asked by the god who likes fire. Emma, if you want to make a quick knowledge religion check.
Yeah, Emma's on it. And Emma's also very much thinking about the pile of ash that was that one hobgoblin.
Yeah, that's enough to know that, Rakash regularly has sacrifices of other beings by having them burned alive.
By the way, seeing their fear, I'd be like, no. If I was going to kill you, I got explosive powder. I got explosives in my backpack.
Emma just, while saying this, Emma just kind of goes behind him and whispers that fact, like, the human flaming sacrifices probably want to be very careful on phrasing.
Who of you doesn't mind high temperatures? I'm not going to set you on fire.
Verboten raises his hand.
Other than you.
One of them, I was going to say, one of the, I will say there's 9, not 4, just to clarify, because you did take 10 of them captive. One of them does raise his hands. I apprenticed under a blacksmith before being drafted and assigned here.
Okay, I found out all the information I want. I unlock him and just like throw him over my shoulder and start walking out, grabbing a cup of beer on my way out.
Doing the old caveman, driving his wife by the hair.
I was gonna say the goblin is looking as he looks. The goblin is terrified, is wide-eyed in terror and confusion.
Verboten smiles and waves.
Emma just goes, "Don't worry, your friend has just been drafted and learning how to use fireballs."
Is that what you call it?
Fireballs? I don't know how to do that.
Then what do you know how to do?
To be fair, you don't know how to do that yet either.
No, but Emma does. She's just like, he's going to be taught how to use fire effectively in battle. Although I will admit the image of... Because I'm just trying to think, our gnome just took away the hobgoblin, took the goblin over his shoulder, correct?
No, the dwarf did.
The dwarf did, okay.
Yes.
Alright.
The overly handsy dwarf has just hijacked the goblin.
Yeah. Emma just visibly sighs.
I will take him to my anvil and dress him up.
You're not making it sound any better.
Don't worry, I'm just gonna pound it into shape, okay?
And with this, I have to change the setting of the entire Seekers of Legend playlist on YouTube.
By the way, I do want charm now.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I have no evidence. I cannot picture this. That my dog just shoved her head under a pillow. Upon hearing that.
And I think we broke Rose again.
Breathe through your mouth, sweetie.
Oh my god!
I think I'm just going to adjust your volume a little bit, Rose. Just.
Oh my god!
Thank God you're not eating anything.
Yeah.
I will admit that caught me by surprise, but.
Verboten kind of watches the figure down the hall and turns to the rest of them. Right. Well, that happened.
Yeah, Emma just turns to Verbatim and just goes, well, I'll leave the rest of this to you then.
Alrighty. Have fun.
So you're looking. So with all the confusion, trying apparently to push that aside, the goblin. So what information were you looking for? Divine beings.
What do you know about the the stronghold that's a few weeks away?
I don't. I mean, I passed through it, but I don't know too much.
Well, just how the roads are. The roads easy? Is it a hard journey, an easy one?
The roads are decently well maintained. It's part of. It's expected part of the duties and all that to maintain the roads. Hasn't really. From what I've heard from the last time there was a delivery, there's been some issue with bandits recently, but they've probably taken care of that by now. And if not, any large group wouldn't be bothered. If I remember correctly, there was the commander there's a bit of a war hero. Helped lead the battle against a large group of trolls that tried coming out of the mountains about 20 years ago. Any other questions?
Verbatim's just waiting for Emma to finish her questions.
Emma's muted at the moment, so. Oop.
What was that?
That was Nashi basically commenting that he's had to step away for a second in roll 20.
Okay.
I'm
I see. Okay.
gonna ask about the bandits. So, sorry everybody, doggy has claws.
Fine, not that
So-
disruption.
Bandits. Is there anything in particular about them you can tell us?
It wasn't really discussed in front of us. I mean, I know we've had occasions of dealing with them every few years, but from what I know, it's sometimes either escaped slaves or deserters, or else something like the local ogre or troll population getting uppity. Doesn't sound like it's the last option though, because they'd have mobilised something bigger if that were the case.
Okay, Emma's gonna make a mental note to alert the others about this, because that could potentially be a useful ally if we could find them. And Emma will then go, thank you all so much for your help. Now, here's the most important question, I think. Would you be willing to help us overthrow your former... I'm not gonna say employers, because the High Goblins are utter assholes, so... former people who really deserve a good scudding.
You claim to... You stand at least 3 gods to their 1. We will gladly serve.
And Emma will turn to Verbatim and just kind of go, didn't you say you had ideas for spies and whatnot?
Yep.
Think that'll be useful?
I'm about to find out.
Mm-hmm.
What would you have with a divine being?
Mm-hmm.
Verbatim will turn back to the speaker. What's your name?
I have gone by. My name is Krask.
Krausk?
Hang on. I'll put the spelling in. It's Krasa.
Okay, Krask. Nice to meet you, Krask. My name's Verbatim. This is Emma.
Yes, I think Emma's just dealing with her dog at the moment, so she's going to be quiet for a little bit, but guessing there would be a greeting going on.
Sure. So he makes introductions.
Yeah.
So, What was your job when everything was still running all hunky dory?
We were minor clerks under the lieutenant. We helped handle paperwork.
Oh,
Not
That's
actually filling in any information, more sorting, filing, that sort of thing.
okay. So, reading and writing isn't an issue for you.
Reading to a point, we were never taught to write because we were not trusted far enough to actually fill in any documents.
Okay. Well, it's not too far a stretch to go from reading to writing, so we can probably take care of that.
It was handled. Any actual reports were handled either by the lieutenant, the commander, or some of the squad sergeants.
Mm-hmm. And so you would know where the documents would need to go and where a document placed in the wrong place could cause issues.
For the camp, yes. For larger bureaucratic issues, we might be able to hazard a guess, but we would not be able to be completely. But we would not be able to be completely certain in such matters.
Sure. Well, we start small and work our way up. But we'll get there eventually. So basically, Verboten is going to begin, I guess, training them in linguistics. That would be the skill to get them going.
Yeah, that would be a linguistics role to train them up.
Okay. So
And
start working.
Emma will assist.
You probably want to take a lead in that because I don't think I have too much in linguistics myself.
I have only +3. I haven't put any ranks in it because I know all languages. There's no real need for me to put skills.
Well,
But
you know languages as soon as you come across them.
yeah, so that's the only reason to put ranks in linguistics.
Oh, that and forgeries.
Alright, well, yeah.
Probably would have mentioned this at some point, but he actually has points. He actually has enough linguistics to actually made a code made for the spinal he was going to be making eventually.
There's the trying to help.
He has 2 points in linguistics.
Okay, so add a +2 onto whatever you add a +2 into your linguistics roll.
Yeah.
Their writing is not great. It does take them a while, but they can eventually get the whole writing thing down. It will probably take them quite a while though.
That's fine. At least he's making something useful with them versus just slaughtering them.
Say, you will note, however, that obviously you can't necessarily have them running about because, yeah, the rest of the citizens
they'll be staying in this room
because accidents might happen otherwise.
Yeah, it might cause some issues, and we'd have some dead goblins. So yeah, they'll be staying in here, and Verboten would definitely explain to them why they would need to stay in here.
Oh yeah, they're not
necessarily.
They're quite happy to stay in here because 200 people who they help rule over. Yeah, no, they don't want to be out there.
Right. Seeing as they were clerks, they probably weren't the ones whipping them or anything like that. But yeah, still the fact they're goblins. Most people won't need much of an excuse to pummel them into the ground. So yeah, they'd be staying here. I won't have them locked to the walls or anything. They can have free reign of the room here, and I'll make sure that they have food and water brought to them.
I'm just going to move it over to just to say I'm probably going to be on the first floor, so I'm going to be there. So probably say after this area, what's up, previous area.
Sure, that's fine.
Just thinking of somewhere that's easy to lock off and has plenty of room.
Yeah, that's fine. Let's see, there's 10 of them.
Oh, 9 now. One of them's been hijacked.
Yeah, right. One of them's been hijacked. So yeah, maybe these bottom 3 rooms we can hand over, or at least 2 of them, hand over to them.
That's right.
And they have free reign of this area, but they can't go past the door here.
Fair enough.
And I'll have my 2 guys on that door.
Okay.
And that's my thing.
Right, yeah. Oh, Aaron, you've been quiet for a while. Is there anything you'd like to be doing?
No, I'm good.
Okay, just checking you're alright and you're not getting bored or anything like that.
Yeah, no, I'm good. Thank you.
In between, this isn't really a high priority for Emma, but it is something she does eventually want to make sure happens. She is going to try and set up something of a school of sorts just to kind of make sure that everyone in the camp has literacy, and hope with the goal of eventually at least starting to bring back the history that's been lost.
Okay, if you want to do that, that'd again be a we'll say either a linguistics check or a knowledge local, whichever you'd...
I want to do knowledge local because that's a plus 10 as opposed to a 3.
Yeah, that's a pretty good reason.
And she'll also just, if anyone wants to help, she'll take volunteers. Just, this is for the long haul of bringing the world back to how it should be.
I actually do have a way to contribute to this, and I'm actually considering becoming a bit of a writer, basically writing on stories of things like the last Dwarven Queen and how her people, making sure their stories survive as a writer.
Okay. Well, that would...
Well, if you want to assist, by all means, because Emma will not be making it a secret that this is a plan, that this is something she's doing.
Okay.
I'll start working on some books.
Right.
Then I'll use my profession writer.
Oh, didn't actually pick that up, but cool.
Mm-hmm.
So just make a check with that, and then...
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you've got several, I'm guessing you're using the parchment you took from the camp and just filling that in?
Yeah, probably. I haven't exactly had a chance to mention this anyway, so it's no surprise. Well, it is a surprise, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Right, so, between that and the various trainings, we've got the next few weeks. So...
By the way, I'm going to do something fun now.
Okay.
That goblin that I stole away, I'm going to hand him a, iron bar and ask him, what is that?
Okay, so... It's a metal bar.
Now that right there is a sword, it's a shield, it's a dagger. It's basically anything you can possibly think of. So I'm going to give you 3 choices.
And what are they?
I can treat you like any other. I'll help you along with the blacksmiths. I can actually teach you a little bit. That'll be the first option. Second option, you become my personal assistant starting today. You shall assist me in blacksmithing. And then Praga will smile and be like, and here's the fun one. Third option, you'll be the first to gain my blessings once I'm powerful enough. If you choose the last one, you will forever leave your past life and gain a new name under me.
The potential first chosen of the dwarf god of war is potentially going to be a goblin. Okay, I'm just going to be rolling a quick GM check, because I'm not sure how we'd respond, apart from sputtering for the first few seconds in confusion. Do I need to do a quick GM roll on something? You do know how to throw me for a loop.
If we ever get to the point where there's fanfics or stuff written about this campaign, so many not safe for work things will come out of this.
What, in just a session? Yeah, I can almost guarantee that.
Hey, come on, I need my Robin. He can't be taller than me.
Yeah, that's not helping. Well, yeah, eventually after he stops sputtering in confusion, I choose the new life.
So he chooses the third one?
Yep.
Then from now on, his name will be Zorgon.
Okay, right, I need to now create a custom item, a custom token. I was not expecting this. I can admit that.
Well, I will admit it'll probably make recruiting other goblins a lot easier.
Oh yeah, my thought process is they're in a similar situation as us. So, having the slaves revolt and the low goblins revolt would be amazing.
Oh,
Hard to fight a war against us when most of your workforce is defected.
Emma will, before the goblins come, will go to Nyx and Aaron and say, the goblins alerted us that there were bandits on the road that the soldiers were coming from. You might want to keep an eye out for them, because when you're out scanning stuff, we could have some outlook.
Well, I was going to say, I don't think you lot were leaving the... were you planning to leave the Metin area, or were you in scouting training, or...
Probably not at first. My suggestion would have been we should use the valley first just for the beginning, and then what I would do is I would have them actually try to track Mama. And then people are playing them to lead actually out into a wild belt and
From there?
yeah.
Okay, so you probably be ready to do that, probably training, doing it as a partner thing. You can probably have, for the first one, you'll probably be ready to start heading out and trying to see what's up. And yeah, well...
Yeah, I'll be doing it with students.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just gonna let them know, just in case they see anything strange or unusual around.
Okay. I'm guessing you're going to be armoring this new goblin guy.
Yeah, remember, and then you can slow down
So you're going to train one more shields.
Oh, yeah.
Oh god.
Or about shield, or battle axe. These are skills already.
Sometimes you're like one cleric.
He's talking about the warfare, right?
Yeah. War priest or a cleric. I'm saying cleric get more instant, get the faster and more general progression spells.
Yeah. But, oh man, this is... How do you guys died? Like, you're my...
Right, one. It beats in the size we have.
Well, probably, well, train another people if you stood out, I'll get a set for you in a second.
Yeah. Oh, and once Emma's group has at a point where they can at least start casting spells on their own, Ella will assist each of them making their first spell book.
Okay.
This time, this book's when I eventually figure out when I figure out how to spell down, we'll be able to fill with all the spell.
Oh, this is going to be scary, isn't it?
She's gonna make 5 copies of each spell on each of them.
Yeah, making goals is a feat I get.
What am I going to do if leaving it free?
Yeah, I know. I hope.
Well, that'll be valuable then. Yes, maybe interesting weekends.
I don't know, I'm just imagining their first spell to be like crayon.
No, but I want to make sure it look good. Because ironically, others release spell books, so she's kind of like, I don't really need one, but you guys just make one. But yeah, and it will be a semi-ritualistic thing, and it will be Emma's first actual ritual.
Okay, so we're making the book into a ritual.
Yeah, thinking and just using it for the first time.
Okay, which I'm going to be doing that. If you want to make me a knowledge arcana check, you can actually take 10 up and on this if you want to.
Well, I take 10 of each one. I'll take 10, so it'll be a total 20.
Okay.
Because I'll be screwed up.
Okay, so you're able to get these graded. Let's see, where's that one to run? So I'll bring up the pictures in just a second, and then I'll bring up the pictures we stand out. We stand out, these stand out from the training, as it were.
Yeah.
Because by now you should have one for each of you, and we've just got to double check a couple of images to make sure they're right.
Yeah.
And then the tokens for them, because I was not expecting this bit to come up yet.
But we have peoples, and we are about to fight probably a lot more soldiers, so we need people who can cast some more magic missiles.
I was expecting training, I wasn't expecting moments to give you the standouts yet, that's all. So I can't give you something NPC, I was just, as I say, you just got me a bit by surprise. Well, this is true, just this is more than I'm expecting in one burst sort of thing.
Yeah, we're like cats with severe ADD.
I think that'd be a mistake.
At least we're not murderers.
Speak for yourself.
At least I'm not a murderer.
To be fair, so far Goggle hasn't been a murder hobo so much as a molestation hobo.
And if anyone likes to make fan art of this, please do.
I personally just like the fact that I stroked one of their head and then I'm just like, I want to take that guy over there.
Yeah, no.
Let's not break Kate again.
For now.
Hi.
Hey, Chris.
Yeah?
Email alert. Your application's time on your team in 5 minutes.
Blumeneck. Well, that's an impressive moment.
I'll leave focus on that session.
Yeah. Does not distract from the current madness for future madness. Just to say for anyone who's interested, unfortunately I won't be streaming the Iron Kingdoms campaign, but I will be doing video recaps through YouTube. Because I fully expect that to be to get interesting.
I hope so. Any more reason of steampunk high fantasy World War I?
Oh, is that the one that goes into the past? Or the future, I guess?
No, it's not a Pathfinder game. It's a it's a different system.
Because it's a Pathfinder game where you fight tanks.
Yes, let's not spoil anything in case anyone's actually planning to run that campaign that's listening. soon as the token maker continues working, we will get. We'll be back up. We will be back on track. Is that one popped up or something else? There we go. So, like I say, in your case, Emma, the character will, and the one who stands out will be Morana, just to say. So, I'll move her over to the notable allies section later on.
Okay.
And that, I did actually change over, which means I can. And so I'll reveal the other two in just a second, along with the token for Zorgon.
Was there any in particular spell magic that she seemed to excel at more than others?
Necromancy.
No, I'm not that much of a git. Transmutation. Yeah, transmutation.
Nice choice. You just had it eventually we're just mining rocks together to form them into gold.
And for Nyx it was a ex-miner by the name of Gazeth, and for Arusk it was a ex-cook by the name of Yasha. Who was a surprisingly big lass. I mean, how tall is Arusk again? About 6.5 feet?
6'5".
Yeah, well, Yasha's a human, and she's human woman, and she's 6 foot. And somewhat impressive. And let's see. Okay, so we'll start with Zorgon. This is how I got him set up for now. You can get him better equipment as it goes, but that was the only armored low goblin picture I could find for now. So there's your cleric or whatever he's going to be.
Awesome. And training instead of Dwarven War Shields.
So he's probably for now, if you're training him, he'd probably for now have a level in fighter with the exotic weapon proficiency, Dwarven War Shield as a feat.
Awesome.
That will change if you actually make him into a cleric of any sort, because then obviously it'd become, if you choose that as your favoured weapon, it would be an automatic proficiency for him, so he'd be able to retrain the feat.
And also get him like a bracelet or something, like something easily seen.
He's the only low goblin walking around in armour. That's going to be the big enough distinction as it is, to be fair.
That is true. And I'll put a symbol on his back. I haven't decided what the symbol is.
Okay.
It's basically going to mark him as, this guy you don't hurt, or else you get hurt by me.
It's a big sign.
Yeah. And this is Yasha. You stand out from the Slayers.
Continue training her for a bit, just watching her, seeing how much he can be trusted, how much he's sort of falling into his lead and ideas.
Okay.
Eventually start teaching her Dave's can't.
I get the feeling that she's going to end up heading the organisation you're planning on founding at some point.
Every good lady needs a right hand.
And this is Gazeth.
Okay.
Who's a standout amongst the rangers. Still likes using the pickaxe as a backup weapon.
That's fine.
So your stand-ups, anything else we want to do, or I'm guessing you'll be wanting to do this at some point in the near future?
Outside of the Dwarven City, yes.
Right you are.
Especially see how far the well, I guess we don't want to go too far from this Dwarven City. Yeah, so I'm gonna say, yeah. I'm gonna see how far out the more party is basically, but it might be a little far.
South away from the
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aaron actually kind of gave me the idea. I'd like to possibly start crafting my own symbols.
Okay.
And then, like, not create letters, symbols, and then I put them out to our
Fair enough. If it be a personal symbol, or maybe some different rules hold.
probably the whole right now, seeing as I don't have my own symbol yet. So yeah. Blacksmithing.
Yeah, that'd be
Fair enough.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do that then quickly. Got something simply visible.
Just like a color chains.
The more artwork we can get.
nods approval. She likes that idea.
I think it should involve a Volknut on it too.
Out of character, what? I'm not sure what that is.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm kind of drawing a blank. Do that. Yeah. Something in general.
Oh, so that's what you call that thing.
It's not loading for me. Well, oh, that's I suppose you could do a silver version of that, and it would sort of look like part of a broken chain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that. I'd be with it.
Yeah, because our stronghold is this mountain technically, so.
Yeah, I'd say perfect.
One more thing. While we're all preparing, Quoth will just every now and then just do a fly around the perimeter just to see if there's anything strange or unusual.
Okay. Right. Let's make me a perception check.
Mm-hmm.
Probably once the 6 league start, it would probably start moving on to the camps to be ready to fight.
Mm-hmm. That's beautiful.
Oh boy.
Long live my awesome bird.
And it always rolls around when... So that's for the general scouting. Yeah, so you'd depending on how far is he flying out, to ask.
He'll be flying about half a mile perimeter away, just kind of doing circles and trying to act like a normal bird.
In which case, over the course, you might notice some bandit activity. You might get some twitches on certain activity, but you would also almost certainly get at least you'd almost certainly spot them the day they arrive. So you probably have a day's warning of when they're actually here.
All right. As soon as Quoth sees them, he'll immediately head back and let Emma know, and Emma will then warn everybody that they're coming. Like, they're here. Is everyone ready?
Question for the Cardinal. Go ahead, Shane. You can go first.
What's coming? A group of bandits attacking the mountain stronghold?
No, it's when the scouts would get here. Quoth has spotted some general.
There's some banditry going on.
Yeah.
Some non-standard movements and all that.
Sure. I thought bandits were attacking the mountain stronghold.
Yeah, and that she does let Nyx and Arisk know that that's happening about a mile out when Quoth notices it, and we'll let the entire group know when the attack's about to happen. And say, how's it coming, everybody?
One of the things I'm doing as preparation is I'm basically taking 20 to help hide Slayers. Basically, just give them time to be hidden for an ambush once the enemies cross the bridge.
We also
Emma will give the clockwork stuff she's been working on to Arisk for him to install.
There is one other thing you need to have done in that time, by the way. I need some engineering checks from Arisk and Verbatim to dam the river, which is one thing you haven't around to. But I know you said you want to do it, so.
Mm-hmm.
And did you want knowledge engineering or profession engineer?
Either will work. If you've got profession engineer, then pop it on. If you, well, no, you have, but yeah, you can do either. So whichever's higher for you. Okay, yeah, the other question I need to ask is, do you want it to look natural, like a natural collapse, or do you want it to be blatantly?
Look natural.
Okay.
Great. Plus, I believe the idea was going to be damming it up above the waterfall.
Yeah, of course. In which case, it's not so much a worry, but so yeah, with those two rolls, yeah, you can do that.
Rom is ready for a fight.
Pop on.
Yeah, I think it's less nibble, more rich chunk out at this point with Rom.
Okay, where should we be playing? Because I know I'm putting the archers up on the ridge line hidden.
Yeah. It's up to you guys where you want to put them, and whilst you do that, I'll finish. I'm not sure if I was going to get one to actually stuff in the attack. Taking the tokens for the scouts.
Alright. Emma will keep her group of casters near the back, and just told that we're going to try our best to be crowd controlled. So sleep spells, color spray, so the fighters can go in and just sweep them.
Okay, I'm just going to look at the sleep range on the range of sleep.
And
Medium?
if possible, yeah.
Okay, so normally sort of ideal for the universe to get all.
Yeah, and remember we end up coming this way past my open to hide where it may look like the group's not there.
But yeah, we've got the same range, 110 feet for the, or maybe it's 120 for you, Emma. Both sleep.
Yeah, so it's gonna look like it's pretty much gonna be all where they come from. They're not gonna see us, but we're gonna be able to cast our spells.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright, so I'll show you the, once I've got them loaded up, I'll show you what you can spot. So I'm guessing somebody's doing a scout, I'm guessing Aris is probably also going to be scouting them with the eye to get a look at them once you're all set up.
Yeah, we're not engaged, but we will at least try to out something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I was expecting there to be more time on discussing rather than actually already established plans, so I'm quite impressed by that.
I think it's good we can agree pretty quickly in this group.
Yeah.
It just sometimes catches me by surprise because there was a lot of sort of arguments about how to deal with the bridge at the end of the last one, so I wasn't sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's going to be a since the bridge is going to be bridge lost on my ideas.
Good question. Since we're making this look natural, can you get flaming water that comes down?
No, not unless you've got. No, you've been working on craft alchemy for a long time and made that clear earlier on.
Oh, yeah, because I was like, we got the cooking oil. I was like, we're going to use it somewhere else.
And of course I don't actually have that as a token because...
Question for the plan. Will the motivation like after you first this is more stable or assets will become will the bullet.
Hmm.
I think should original there. Once it's held up below it.
Engineering check.
You know, sorry.
I remember you first all yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can when that's put in. Okay, obviously we're ending for
Yeah.
So the question is after the full or the technically or the requited. You don't exactly do, you don't just find out what to do.
That is our key to guy, but the thing that I need to for both.
I'm going to attack the entry across the arch.
Right, so it'll be a second I'll have it open right about it. We'll have it ready to open and divide because... I'll have it wrong. Sorry about this. I'll hold that on it before we have to admit it. I'll have it really good.
Okay. Multiple slayers, there are fires since the comms gets greater. Anything that they build there is no research.
Let's get a bit closer. I'm sorry, this is loading.
No problem.
Can't see. And once Scott gets back, I'll leave you guys about before dealing with.
And I'm going to be in terms of book clumps and regardless of your team is the race build.
I don't think on the tree line to every week we get spot I don't like the trees.
Yeah, I can do that. I can do that. Invitation of the song before my motion.
Yeah, I'd say build the actual map, so yeah, I'd say that you can just get yourself here. If I need to be on time. If we go here, or you'd be able to kind of drop the video range, or you'd be able to play a shot on the different matter.
I'll try to aim for ones who are on the bridge from the fighting, making them just focus on their usual outcome.
Okay, fair enough. So we've got India. My brain doesn't say, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
That's why I need to run.
Okay.
Question: how tall is the guard tower? Is it higher than this bridge? About tonight.
Excellent.
Because I want to put like a list of 3 rangers in the guard tower so they can see farther, just in case and relay, information of if there's more forces coming up, what kind of stuff.
Yeah, gotcha. Well, I think we're kind of on the same level as the bottom guard that's leading over the bridge. I've got some pipes there, yeah.
Yeah, I think the more she must be once the goblins reach the head of the back of the go towards. And start having them once they start getting to hit landmines.
Yeah, I'm just trying to up something down when the other back, or stairs or whatever it is that used to get up there.
Right, yeah. So, just check. There we go. Now she's back.
Minor illusion wall. It will be a PC 15 will save to disbelief.
Okay. Alright, so Nashi, your question is where do you want your fighters put? I thought Gravel was back, but apparently not. I was gonna say we'll probably hold the main battle for next week because it's nearly 11 o'clock at night, but okay, we can. So I'm just gonna put a couple of marks on here. I'm just gonna change up my colour for a second so I can put different coloured marks on. So that's not going to work. Blood, I'm guessing, is where the actually, hang on.
Yeah, blue box is casters.
Okay. I'll redraw that just so it's vaguely reasonable.
Mm-hmm. And right along the tree line where we are, there is going to be that minor illusion.
Yeah, so if you want to draw a quick line for that, and then I'll... There we go.
Yeah. Right there, alley.
Okay, no problem. And...
Right there we go.
So now we're just waiting on the return of our fighter so we know where he's placing his forces.
Yeah, sorry.
Go ahead.
I just got back. My wife cut herself while cooking.
Oh, shiny, okay.
Oh yeah, it was just a little cut, but
Right.
she was cutting an onion, so she couldn't see, and she got cut. So
Oh.
Always a fun thing to deal with. So,
Sorry to hear that name.
So marking down troops.
Yeah, just the way you have your fighters.
Archers are orange, mages are blue.
We're trying to catch him on the bridge, right? So pink.
No, we're setting the bridge to go boom. This is the
Don't
beginning
boom,
of
it's just-
cross. This is the beginning of Boom Survive.
And just say you are currently exactly where Aris wanted to put his bear trap, so you might want to be a bit further back.
No, I did what Craggle suggested. I'll put the traps on the other side, the bear traps on the other side of the bridge. I say probably put the cow traps there.
Alright, fair enough, yeah. Fair point.
Okay, pink will be cow traps then.
Yeah, just thinking about... Oh, these
Yeah, because pretty much the master's plan is to put as many people to sleep as possible, so then the soldiers can just steamroll.
Okay, so what's the blue again?
Archers. I mean, not archers, they're the mages.
Yeah, and we're behind a wall of minor illusions, so they will not be able to see us.
Emma, minor image is a spell in Pathfinder. If it goes out, it leaves a silent image.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, so
I'm looking at the game lately.
once you guys cast, you're going to be basically exposed. So probably between you and the people, but not directly there. Because you are.
They shouldn't, because the silent image is just going to be there, and they have to make a DC 15 save to believe. Basically, it's the image is basically what they're standing in front of, to make it look like there isn't anything there. It's not invisibility.
Okay, so that's where your fighters are going to be.
That's where most of them are going to be. There's going to be a second round of them somewhere else.
Okay, well, what I was going to say, we're going to be closing up before we get to the main battle and save it for next week. Because pacing, for one thing, and because it's getting late.
It's going to be hilarious. It turns out they all die, and the explosion mark is sitting there going, wow, the plan worked!
Better deal, better number. Okay, so in regards to what showed up, you have the 20 scouts. You have Scoutmaster Barhak, who's returned. Which is this fellow. You remember him?
Yep.
Certainly.
Yeah, along with 20 of these fellows, I'm just going to show up regular scouts. You have the person standing, the older female hobgoblin standing next to Bahak, who looks to be in command of the military scouts, and is armed to the teeth. So that's the military scout commander. You can see that alright.
Mhm.
And these are the 30 scouts she's brought along. Each carrying what appears to be a longsword and a short bow.
Okay, so you said I know Balak and 20 scouts. His scouts. You said 20 additional scouts from the scouting party and an additional 30 additional. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a total of 52 goblins.
Okay, good. That was my other thought.
Well, to be fair, these are just a check. These are initially just planned to be a checking thing, but if they think that they can take it, they will. Because, yeah, you beat a bunch of militia soldiers. That's one thing.
Just wait, and I'll signal once the goblins either start activating the traps or start noticing them. That's where I'll tell the scouts to open fire.
Right. Well, as I say, we're going to actually call it here because I want to have a few more battlegrounds maps prepped for next when we're actually doing the fighting.
Alright, no problem.
So,
Wait.
Right.
Oh, this is gonna be fun. They're like, yeah, it's just a couple of slaves, and oh my god, there's actually first level fighters. What the hell?
I just think they can react to the fact that there's mages. Wait, there are mages and rangers, and we're not used to fighting this.
Oh boy, I just realized it now that.
I know, and I was so tempted just to have everyone have magic missile and just fire, and I'm like, but sleep is so much more practical for this.
To be fair, you could have them prepared 2 instances of what do you get?
Yeah.
Given they probably have a slight intelligence boost because they're preparing and all that, and yeah. So we probably got 3 cell slots, so you could go 2 sleeps and 1 magic missile.
I'm gonna go with that just because that would be really funny if we're just like, leaders, civilians, okay, everyone, all of us together, magic missile.
Out of character, Emma, I very highly suggest you go with Color Spray because sleep can only affect a certain number of hit dice.
Yeah, true.
Color Spray just causes a save for
Yeah,
everyone.
I'm basically saying they're
only
gonna
a
have.
15-foot cone, so you can go 1 sleep, 1 colour spray, and 1 instead of magic missile, go burning hands.
Yeah, that's pretty much what the group will have.
So yeah,
Because that's in the spell list right now, along with, in terms of the cantrips, they'll all have the Ray of Frost, just ones that can be blasting, just so they have spells that can still at least do some damage.
yeah, and of course, well, even if they don't do that, I mean, since they're Arcanists, they can actually you can equip them each with a heavy mace.
Yeah, and make sure they were geared up.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, everyone's geared up? Alright, now let's go kill things.
Yeah, the archers with the stairs got short swords as well. And I just realized something. Eros is technically the vanguard since he's probably up by ground building, ready to blow the bridge.
Yeah. And then, of course, there's the amusing factor of if the hobgoblins do close on the mage, it's 6 simultaneous burning hands.
Yeah.
You've just invented the flamethrower division.
Just wait till they get them and start casting fireball.
Yeah, no. I've just thought maybe campaign's supposed
Oh
to be
no,
time.
it'll be a swarm of black tentacles.
Oh god.
And chain lightning, because that's more of it, because that's worse. Fireball only hurts you once. Black tentacles, those things are a pain in the ass.
Probably.
Spear him first, and then cast chain lightning over and over.
Yep.
Oh god.
Actually, a chain lightning isn't as good just because it loses a dice of damage per enemy hit.
Oh.
Meanwhile, fireball.
Actually, what I like is the what is it? It's the
Hey Chris, I found a comic that's going to be your future in this campaign.
Oh dear.
what is it?
Well, anyway, I think that's going to go for an evening tonight, folks. I'm going to sign off. Good night and see you next week. The next episode should be up come Monday.
Oh my god.
Promise said that he didn't get to fight.
He'll be fine.
Yeah, we did get to spend 6 weeks scaring newbie hunters.
Oh yeah. He kind of found some joy in that.
Where are you going to keep Rom? Are you going to put him with the archers or with the soldiers?
Huh.
Anyway,
That's a good question. I actually might put him with the mages, just in case. Just in case any of the goblins do manage to make the safe, he can just go out and keep them occupied while the mages try and,
That is actually a really freaking good idea.
Okay, for some reason it's not. For some reason the
because that way they actually have some kind of melee protection.